Good morning and welcome. So happy to be here with you today. Loud are the bells of Norridge, the people come and go. Here by the Tower of Julian, I tell them what I know. Ring out the bells of Norridge, let the winter come and go. All shall be well again, I know. Love like the yellow daffodil, the flower in the snow. Love like the yellow daffodil is Lord of all I know. Ring out the bells of Norridge, let the winter come and go. All shall be well again, I know. Ring for the yellow daffodil, the flower in the snow. Ring for the yellow daffodil and tell them what I know. Ring out the bells of Norridge, let the winter come and go. All shall be well again, I know. Loud are the bells of Norridge, the people come and go. Here by the Tower of Julian, I tell them what I know. All shall be well, I'm telling you, let the winter come and go. All shall be well again, I know. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Day is breaking in my soul. Oh, where are our dear mothers? Oh, where are our dear mothers? Oh, where are our dear mothers? Day is breaking in my soul. They are sowing seeds of gladness. They are sowing seeds of gladness. They are sowing seeds of gladness. Day is breaking in my soul. Oh, where are our dear fathers? Oh, where are our dear fathers? Oh, where are our dear fathers? Day is breaking in my soul. They are in the fields a-plowing. They are in the fields a-plowing. They are in the fields a-plowing. Day is breaking in my soul. Oh, how can I be lonely? My friends are all around me. Their loving arms surround me. Day is breaking in my soul. Through all the years, singing, voice of my soul, making me whole, promises told. Good morning and welcome. I'm so glad you're here with us today. I hope you'll sing with me. Loud are the bells of Norridge, the people come and go. Here by the Tower of Julian, I tell them what I know. Ring out the bells of Norwich, let the winter come and go. All shall be well again, I know. Love like the yellow daffodil, the flower in the snow. Love like the yellow daffodil is Lord of all I know. Ring out the bells of Norwich, let the winter come and go. All shall be well again, I know. Ring for the yellow daffodil, the flower in the snow. Ring for the yellow daffodil and tell them what I know. Ring out the bells of Norwich, let the winter come and go. All shall be well again, I know. Loud are the bells of Norwich, the people come and go. Here by the Tower of Julian, I tell them what I know. All shall be well, I'm telling you, let the winter come and go. All shall be well again, I know. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Day is breaking in my soul. Oh, where are our dear mothers? Oh, where are our dear mothers? Oh, where are our dear mothers? Day is breaking in my soul. They are sowing seeds of gladness. They are sowing seeds of gladness. They are sowing seeds of gladness. Day is breaking in my soul. Oh, where are our dear fathers? Oh, where are our dear fathers? Oh, where are our dear fathers? Day is breaking in my soul. They are in the fields a plowing. They are in the fields a plowing. They are in the fields a plowing. Day is breaking in my soul. Oh, how can I be lonely? My friends are all around me. Their loving arms surround me. Day is breaking in my soul.
Good morning and welcome everyone to Whitebear Unitarian Universalist Church. I am Annie Vale, serving on your board of directors. We are a congregation in the free faith tradition, a community of youth, adults, and children dedicated to pluralism in the spiritual search and ethics grounded in action. Our mission is to grow our souls and serve the world in love. Service participants today include Amy Peterson-Derrick, Sarah Goodman, Chris Kassinger, Victoria Safford, and Carol Couette, supported by Anna Garys and Aaron Scott. Music today is from Carol Couette and the WBUUC Choir, directed by Thaxter Cuneo, with technical assistance from Steve Goranson. Today, after the service at 11:15, we hope that you will join us for Cyber Social Hour. It's a fun way to meet others, see old friends, and share a little conversation in small facilitated groups. We'll put the Zoom link and easy instructions in the chat box. We're glad you're here. Welcome to our church. And now a special announcement from the 2020 Auction Committee.
Hello, I'm Nicolay Lyon, Board President at WBUUC. We're so excited to be able to launch the 2020 service auction. As you've heard, this year the auction will be 100% online and will be held over 4 days. The theme is appropriately, Till We Meet Again. We want to thank our generous donors and the members of this year's auction committee. As you'll see from the catalog, there are many opportunities to connect with others virtually, learn a new skill, or buy gifts for your loved ones, all while financially supporting the vitally important work of our church. This is a generous, creative community, so we hope you'll take lots of time to look at the catalog. Mark the items that interest you and be sure to check back to increase your bid. Remember that the bidding will close at 9 p.m. on Sunday, December 6th. And now for some exciting news about our 2 Fund in Need opportunities.
Hello, I'm Reverend Sarah Goodman, and it is my pleasure to introduce the When We Meet Again Fund. The money donated to this fund will be directed to technology upgrades in our church, changes that will support the continued online programming even when we can get back together physically. The funds will also provide resources for improvements aimed at keeping everyone healthy and safe when we return to the building. Beyond that, we may be able to use these funds to add a tech-related staff position. An anonymous donor has offered a matching gift of up to $10,000 for this fund, so your dollars will be doubled if you give through the auction site now. Let's see how high we can reach.
Hello, I'm Reverend Jack, and I am proud to introduce our other special Fund in Need opportunity. This one is to support the brave and bold work of BLUE, Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. BLUU helps to lead Unitarian Universalists in focusing on anti-racism and transformation of our world by harnessing love's power to combat oppression and foster healing as a spiritual and political imperative, which it is. As with the other fund, there is a matching gift. This one is for $2,500, so all gifts up to this amount will be doubled. Please be generous as we make this community gift to Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. Thank you.
Come into this space which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all your vulnerabilities and strengths, fears and anxieties, loves and hopes. For here you need not hide, nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into the space where we can heal and be healed, forgive and be forgiven. Come into the space where the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, the compassionate is expected. Come into this space. Together, we make it a holy space. Chris Kassinger will be lighting our chalice today.
Friends, I have to admit that during these times especially, I feel almost sick with loneliness. It is a physical aching for community, for those beautiful trees, for the sunlight coming in through the windows in that soft, bright way. I go to church on Zoom. I sing the songs, though it hurts to sing almost alone. And I say the opening and closing words, though only my partner hears them. Sometimes it feels ridiculous, and sometimes I just want to quit showing up. It's just me and Melissa in this room, and sometimes the hurt of missing you all is larger than my heart, larger than this apartment, larger than any one of us can hold. And my voice falters. But when I close my eyes and lean into the meditation, lean into the silence, I can almost see you there. And it is then I can almost hear you singing the songs, almost feel you sitting next to me, can almost see you offering me a Kleenex. And then I smile with a robust, kind of grounded joy, and realize no matter how much I don't know how long I can do this, I'm going to keep coming anyway, because I see you here in the quiet. I remember you. Today, I light the chalice for remembering and holding on to one another, to what is good, joyful, merciful, and just, and to what is holy.
Please join me in the opening words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Our opening hymn is Give Thanks.
Give thanks for the corn and the wheat that are reaped, for labor well done, and for barns that are heaped, for the sun and the dew and the sweet honeycomb, for the rose and the song and the harvest brought home. Give thanks for the mills and the farms of our land, for craft and the strength in the work of our hands, for the beauty our artists and poets have wrought, for the hope and affection our friendships have brought. Give thanks for the homes that with kindness are blessed, for seasons of plenty and well-deserved rest, for the earth and the air and the glorious rain, for the bright days of summer and winter again.
Good morning. Stories are so wonderful and useful, and not just because they can teach us new things or remind us of life lessons. Sometimes stories are important simply because they can make us feel something. Maybe you've had the experience of hearing a story, and as you listen, something is sparked inside of you. Maybe it was a feeling of wonder or excitement or warmth, or maybe it was worry or sadness or anger. You might not have even known why a story made you feel that way, and that's okay. Sometimes the power is just in holding space for the noticing and naming. When we practice this noticing and naming, we can find a deeper meaning and connection in sacred texts and stories, especially when the story gives us more questions than it does answers. I'm going to invite you to take a breath all together. And as I read this morning's story, I invite you into this practice with me. As you listen to the words, also listen inside and just notice what this story sparks in you. The story is called When the Horse Runs Off, and this is adapted by a version told by Sarah Conover. Long ago, in a country where the mountains are among the world's loftiest, there lived an old farmer and his son.
The boy spent his days attending to the work of the farm and their one horse, a beautiful stallion. After years of careful training, the horse ran swifter and smoother than any other in the region. But one day, they awoke to find their cherished stallion missing. The son was heartbroken. Neighbors gathered round the two and lamented their great loss. But the father just gazed calmly past the villagers to the surrounding high peaks. "We shall see," he said. "We shall see if this is good or if this is bad." After a week, the magnificent horse returned, followed by an equally fine wild mare. Father and son worked together to train the new horse. This time, the neighbors praised the old man's remarkable luck. He was now the wealthiest man in town. He owned the two very best horses. But the farmer simply smiled and remarked, "Who knows if this is lucky or unlucky? We shall see. We shall see." And so it came to pass that one day, while racing their splendid horses across the field, the son fell off and broke his leg badly. While the boy was being tended to by the doctor, the villagers bemoaned the family's terrible misfortune. But the father, calm as ever, took comfort in his child. "He is safe," replied the old man. "We shall see. We shall see." The very next week, a battalion of soldiers marched into the village. A war to the north was underway, and all young villagers were needed immediately to serve. But alas, there was one young villager left behind in his bed, for it was obvious that his wounds would take many, many months to heal. The neighbors envied the farmer's good fortune. The old farmer looked across his fields, with the two fine horses grazing. He looked at the lovely way that the sun caught the tops of the jagged peaks in the distance, and he just smiled and said, "We shall see. We shall see."
Join me in a spirit of meditation or prayer. Find a comfortable place for your body. Relax the places in your body where you're holding tension. Breathe several deep breaths. Feel the air in your lungs. As we find our connection to our body, let's remember our connection to the holy, because everything is holy. Our physical form is present today in the space we are each occupying. Each space we fill, each spot our body touches is related to others around us, interconnected. We share electrical energy through breaths, sound waves, body heat. Our gaze can rest upon something or bore into it. How are you interacting with what's around you today? Can you hold your attention on the parts that feel unknown, uncomfortable? We are not alone. We feel alone maybe, but we are not alone in this. We are apart, yet we gather in this way together. We are in between times and yet ever present in this moment. What does this present moment bring you? Do you grieve, mourn loved ones, struggle every day? Do you find joy in family, in nature, in baking? Do both grief and joy move through your life fluidly? Beloveds, let's embrace the holy nature of humanity. The only thing certain is not knowing. We don't know when or how we will be together, but we know that till we meet again, we will hold each other in uncertainty and love. We hold so many folks in our hearts here every day. Those who are lonely, those who are suffering, those who have lost loved ones. We hold those who are celebrating, those who are plodding along, those who find things to love in this time. We hold you all. In this silence, speak aloud the names of those you are holding in your hearts, that we can share in holding them all together. Amen.
To sustain our online programming, Sunday services, pastoral care, and our work in the wider world today toward justice and equity, your church needs your financial support. Please be generous today. Click on the link or send us a check. We're all in this together.
Our first reading is from Debus. Making sandwiches while sitting in a wheelchair is not physically difficult, but it can be a spiritual trial. The chair always makes me remember my legs and how I lived with them. I'm beginning my 9th year as a cripple, those are his words, and have learned to try to move slowly, with concentration, with precision, with peace. The memory of having legs that held me upright at this counter is the demon I must keep at bay, or I will rage and grieve because of space and time and this wheeled thing that has replaced my legs. So I must try to know the spiritual essence of what I'm doing. On Tuesdays, when I make lunches for my girls, I focus on this. Sandwiches are sacraments. And each motion is a sacrament, this holding of plastic bags, of knives, of bread, of cutting board, this pushing of the chair, this spreading of mustard on bread, this trimming of liverwurst or ham, all sacraments, as putting the lunches into a zippered book bag is, and going down my 6 ramps to my car is. I drive on the highway to the girls' town, to their school. And this is not simply a transition. It is my love moving by car from a place where my girls are not to a place where they are. Even if I do not feel or acknowledge it, this is a sacrament. If I remember it, then I feel it too. Feeling it does not always mean that I'm a happy man driving in traffic. It simply means that I know what I am doing in the presence of God.
The second reading is from W.S. Merwin. Listen, with the night falling, we are saying thank you. We are stopping on the bridges to bow from the railings. We are running out of the glass rooms with our mouths full of food to look at the sky and say thank you. We are standing by the water, thanking it, smiling by the windows, looking out in our directions, back from a series of hospitals, back from a mugging, after funerals. We are saying thank you. After the news of the dead, whether or not we knew them, we are saying thank you. Over telephones, we're saying thank you. In doorways and in the backs of cars and in elevators, remembering wars and the police at the door. We are saying thank you. In the banks, we're saying thank you. In the faces of the officials and the rich and of all who will never change, we go on saying, with the animals dying around us, our lost feelings, we're saying thank you. With the forests falling faster than the minutes of our lives, with the woods going out like cells of a brain, with the cities growing over us, we are saying thank you faster and faster with nobody listening. We are saying thank you. We're saying thank you and waving, dark though it is.
Our third reading is also from W.S. Merwin, Just Now. In the morning, as the storm begins to blow away, the clear sky appears for a moment, and it seems to me that there has been something simpler than I could ever believe. Simpler than I could have begun to find words for, not patient, not even waiting, no more hidden than the air itself that became part of me for a while with every breath and remained with me unnoticed. Something that was here unnamed, unknown in the past, in the days and the nights, not separate from them as they came and were gone. It must have been here, neither early nor late then. By what name can I address it now, holding out my thanks?
Last week, as soon as it was available, I downloaded Minnesota's new contact tracing app, Corona Aware MN. It feels like such a tangible, in-your-hand way to be part of a global solution, literally connected to this vast, interwoven community intention just to do the right thing. For a few hours, I was checking every hour to see if I'd had any exposures, even though I've been here alone in this building or alone in my house with Ross for weeks, for months. I know the app's not perfect. It hinges on so many thousands of factors and decisions made or not made by thousands, hundreds of thousands of people across the state. It's one of 100 million little tiny, maybe helpful pieces in the mechanism mosaic of pandemic management. I wondered what it would feel like to get a notification of exposure. And the more I thought about this week, together with hearing, as we all are now, about people I know and people I love, including some of you who've gotten sick, I realized this app may not have enough features for me. If it does ding to tell me I've been exposed to somebody with COVID-19, I want it to send a message right back through all the carefully encoded confidential scrambles of algorithmic anonymity. I want to click and send a note right away that says, wow, I don't know who you are, but thank you. Thank you for signing up and typing in your encoded number and letting us all know that you did this while you're sick is amazing. And even though we know it isn't, I think it must have felt really risky. So thank you. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you're sick, and I hope your case is mild. I hope you're getting better. And do you need anything? Anything I can make appear magically through this app, since I don't know, and I don't need to know who you are. Do you need tissues or tea? A grocery run? Can I walk your dog or make you soup or watch your kids? I really hope your family is not sick. I really hope you're not alone. As with all technology, I want this app to do more than it is built to do. I want it to send that note, connect me to the dog and the children and the tissues. I want it to send flowers, bring flowers to the nursing home. And I want another feature. We'll call that first one the tenderness feature. I also want the outrage feature, one where every time it notifies me of another exposure, I can register how much I hate COVID-19 and hate the catastrophic federal non-response to it and the careless, selfish behavior of reckless people. And I want a place on the app where we can check some boxes, input other data regarding our current health status. Angry? Check. Scared? Check. Anxious? Check. Lonely? Check. Bored? Stressed? Not sleeping? Only sleeping? Depressed? Financially uncertain? Check, check, check. Fuzzy-brained? At wit's end? Check. I actually don't know if contact tracing for outrage is a good idea or not. Sometimes it feels like there's this thin veneer of normalcy shrouding everything now unnaturally, and maybe it would be a kind of comfort to know when we've been in close proximity, exposed, as it were, to other people's fury or their bewilderment. That might feel strangely comforting. This week on Thursday, I put down my phone and its app and turned on the computer and found, as maybe you did, so much to my surprise, that beauty and laughter and a slender filament of real connection could be cast across the miles, across these months of isolation, that we could do Thanksgiving in this brave new world. Two of us in person, sitting together, not together, with our family of friends glowing on the screen, a beloved circle of rectangles, toasting optimistically the future, sharing so many stories from the past. To see them, to be with them in their houses was a poignant blessing. To sing with you is home to me, a compass at the close of day to guide my soul in deeper ways, a throng of friends together breathe beneath the sky, all black and bright. We join the loud and holy night of galaxies unknown. To be with them was home to me on Thursday night for just an hour, just that little while. And then we switched off the screen, and there in our house, it felt again like we were far from home, bereft again a little. It is so important in these times, these days, to put on a brave face and carry on as if to encourage each other, to maintain our own mental health. But I think it's also important, and I think we're learning how important it is sometimes to peel off the mask, sometimes. And just howl our sadness, our frustration, wail our fear. That's also, in moderation, good for mental health. Acknowledging to each other that the pain of this is real, holding our rage and our confusion as holy as our hope. Minnesota's Dr. Michael Osterholm was quoted in the New York Times last week. He was one of 4 public health superstars interviewed about Thanksgiving. They're all covert experts, and each was asked how the science guided their family's holiday planning and asked to share their own plans. Osterholm said this: "I plan to spend the day with my partner, just the 2 of us, celebrating what we have to be thankful for in our lives. We'll do virtual celebrations with our kids and grandkids, maybe even find a new magic trick to show them. And I will spend part of the day doing something I've never before done on Thanksgiving. I will call a number of people in my life to whom I owe so much. I will thank them for their love and kindness and remind them I'm so very glad they were born." I love that. And you know, it's not too late to call. It never is until it is. Maybe we're learning to be braver in these times. Pick up the phone. More honest, better stewards of the brief time we have upon this earth. Why not pick up the phone? Why not tell somebody you love, or even somebody you just sort of like, to speak with you is home to me. I'm very glad that you were born. In one of our readings, Sarah shared with us the beautiful testimony of Andre Debus, who says when he makes sandwiches for his children and puts them in their plastic baggies and drives them to their school, that is a sacrament. It is not an easy thing. He was a big man in a very small kitchen in a wheelchair. And elsewhere in the essay, he tells how he had to pre-plan every single time, every motion of this activity, opening this drawer, then that one in the right order, grabbing the cutting board, the knife, the mustard, the bags, loading everything into his lap before making the sharp turn to the counter, because otherwise he'd have to back all the way out of his narrow kitchen in his wheelchair and start all over. A sacrament, he says, not because it was hard or saintly, but because it was deliberate, love made tangible on purpose. He talks about the drive to their school and says, it's not simply a transition. It is my love moving by car from a place where my girls are not to a place where they are, even if I don't feel or acknowledge it. This is a sacrament. If I remember it, then I feel it too. Feeling does not always mean that I'm a happy man driving in heavy traffic. It simply means that I know what I am doing in the presence of God. It's not a pious thing. It's a sacred thing, mindful thing. To move through your day like that, through your days, your whole life, to know what you're doing and for whom and why. It's not a particularly special thing, making this lunch, driving it across the town. It's a tedious thing, a daily thing. It's just a thing. But it is my love, he says, rolling the chair, moving by car, all of it done in the presence of the holy. Debus wrote as a Catholic, but I think he's saying something universal here, that somehow it matters to hold what we're doing, the smallest thing, and how we do it, mindful that we're part of a larger interwoven communal intention to do good, to be good, to bring love forth out from inside of us. Small amounts, small gestures, as we're able, when we can. And on the days when we can't, when we ourselves have not a single drop to share, not an ounce of courage or compassion or time or hope, it matters then equally to receive these things from others with gracious and exhausted thanks, even if the only others in our lives right now are the trees outside your window, or the moon and stars, or the sun that rises every day. I know what I'm doing in the presence of God, he says. I know what I'm doing in the presence of the holy mystery and the presence of other people, some of whom I know, most of whom I don't, all of it larger than myself, but connected directly to me. It's possible, he says, to remember this. The poet W.S. Merwin says a similar thing. In the morning, he says, the clear sky appears for a moment, and it seems to me that there's been something simpler than I could ever believe, simpler than I could have begun to find words for. No more hidden than the air itself that becomes part of me for a while with every breath and remains within me, unnoticed. Something that was here, unnamed, unknown, in the days and the nights, not separate from them as they came and were gone. It must have been here. By what name can I address it now, holding out my thanks? There's a beauty and an order to this mysterious world that we know so little about, except by observation, by noticing, paying attention, as Russell Rogers said last week, understanding that some things around us are more eternal and more infinite than we ourselves will ever be. And within all this, we have a small amount of agency in response to what we see and know, all the things that happen to us and around us, lovely things, terrible things, lonely, hard, frightening things. And in response as well, and often at the same time, to gifts and grace and luck and life, we have agency to bless or curse the world, participate in its unfolding, to move as if our motions were a sacrament. This is the final Sunday in a month when our theme has been outrage, the practice of holding what is holy. And if ever a monthly theme could inform and illuminate a whole year of months, an entire 2020 of months, this theme, outrage, might be the one. So many things to make us rightly angry, anxious, upset, and also cautiously hopeful, and also mightily grateful. As always, the outrages and the beauty come tumbling toward us all together, just in larger doses this year. I feel sometimes as if a single body or soul is not a large enough container to hold it all at once. And I've been thinking in this month of outrage about Job, therefore, the strange, sad figure in the Hebrew Testament who is made to hold so much, and who, next to Jesus himself and maybe Mary, may be one of the most familiar characters in the entire Bible. And it's no wonder why that is. Job is renowned, you may remember, for the countless slings and arrows of outrageous fortune that God sends to him, and for his famous patience. But Job is not in fact patient, not in the actual text, not at all, nor acquiescent, nor polite, nor when his life is ripped to shreds, does he just shrug and say, oh, that's okay, I don't mind, I'll be patient, I'll be fine, I'll just keep calm and carry on. He doesn't say that. He's a cauldron of outrage. All that famous patience was a later interpretation by Christian writers, mostly over many centuries, theologians who prized Job's suffering over his dignity. And they held him up as a model of passive virtue. He's not passive, he's aggressively upset. This story is old. It's older than its writing. It was a story handed down by oral tradition, touching a nerve in the human psyche that maybe we recognize. Something about suffering. In the story, Satan who hasn't yet fallen into hell, who still lives upstairs with the other angels, Satan makes a bet with God that even the most righteous, pious person will curse God to God's face when good luck turns bad, when bad things happen to good people. God takes the bet and allows terrible things to happen to Job, the best man he knows. Job's livestock all die. His money disappears. His home is destroyed. His wife and his children are murdered. His body is broken, covered with sores, and his friends who come to comfort him just pour salt in every wound. They are scared to speak ill of God, even though God's behaving terribly. And they reason, Job must have done something wrong, something to make God mad. His suffering is proof of this. Something he did, something he said, something about him, something inherent in him must deserve all this trouble, must be wrong or unworthy. Because God, they said, is a just God, always right, always fair. Job is not patient with this because it's twisted and it's cruel. He's desolate, he's outraged. He doesn't doubt God's power, and he admits there may be reasons that he himself will never understand, but he rages. And it occurs to him that all around him there are people just like himself, good and honest people who suffer for no reason, and also tyrants and oppressors who are rewarded, who never get punished for their evil. He rails at God. Why did you let me be born? Why couldn't I have stayed in the deep waters of the womb, rocked to sleep in the dark? Is not my life wretched enough? You set me free, then you trap me like a cat toying with a mouse. This is Stephen Mitchell's beautiful translation. He goes on, now I'm in agony. The days of sorrow have caught me. Pain pierces my skin, suffering gnaws my bones, despair grips me by the neck and shakes me by the collar of my coat. I cry out, you don't answer. He's talking to God. I'm silent, you don't care. If I ever neglected the poor or made the innocent suffer, if I didn't share bread with the hungry, if I ever abused the helpless, pledged allegiance to gold, or took any credit for my fortune, or shut out a stranger, or turned a traveler away, it would be different. But I swear by God, who has wronged me and filled me with despair, that while there's life in this body, I'll tell you, this is not right. If Job had the outrage feature on the app on his phone, he'd be using it. Like so many stories in the Bible, it's hard to find the point of this. Scholars long have argued. In the end, in the text, God rages back more at Job's friends than Job himself and says, look, I never told you I was kind or just, for that matter. I made this whole cosmos, and I never said that what happens here is going to be fair. It is powerful, inscrutable, beautiful, terrible, infinite, eternal, but this cosmos isn't fair. It's to that reality that Job bows in the end. He's not patient so much as honest, realistic, and courageous. He bows to the mysterious chaos of this life, to what's beyond his control, and he doesn't like it. And the fact that whatever we know of justice and mercy and meaning and comfort and compassion and healing and hope, those are all the holy work of humans here on earth, not capricious gods. Sorrows come sometimes with no explanation, no justification. Plagues come. There's no justice in it. Sometimes very little mercy beyond what we carry to the scene ourselves, what we make of it together, the kinds of people we decide we're called to be for one another. Andre Debus talks about this when he talks about the sandwiches. I've learned to move slowly, he says, with precision. The memory of having legs that kept me upright at this kitchen counter is a demon I must keep at bay, or I'm going to rage and grieve without ceasing. I must try to know the spiritual essence of what I'm doing now. Not to deny the outrage and the grief, but to honor them by holding them side by side with sacrament. To be a whole, not partial person means holding what is holy, all of it, our outrage and our love, fear, wild hope, all together. Listen, says the poet W.S. Merwin. Listen, with the night falling, we are saying thank you. We're stopping on the bridges to bow from the railings, to look at the sky and say thank you. We're standing by the water, thanking it, smiling by the windows, looking out in our directions, back from a series of hospitals, back from a mugging, after funerals. We're saying thank you. After the news of the dead, whether or not we knew them, we're saying thank you. Not because we're glad for sorrow, or indifferent, or stoic, not because we're complacent, or pious, or patient, or lost in denial, but because we can hold gratitude and rage at once, all of it. Over telephones, we are saying thank you. In doorways, in the backs of cars, and elevators, remembering wars, and the police at the door, we're saying thank you because this life is beautiful, even as it is unjust. We can hold all of it, not alone, but together. In the banks, we're saying thank you, he says, the faces of the rich and all who will never change. We go on saying thank you, thank you. We are saying thank you and waving, dark though it is. The days are getting darker, literally. We know this is not an easy time. We know there are no easy answers. And so we're learning to ask different questions. How much solace can we bring and be to one another? How much hope and tenderness can we kindle for each other? We're starting to ask different beautiful questions, and we're starting to find out. We are only just beginning now to imagine how large love can be, how large, how extensive our love of life and each other might be and yet become. Just a moment, breathing in and out. Let's hold silence together. The hymn is What Wondrous Love.
What wondrous love
Please join me in the closing words. May peace dwell within our hearts and understanding in our minds. May courage steel our will and the love of truth forever guide us.
Friends, thank you for joining us this morning. Watch the e-news that we send twice a week for news of what's happening at church. And today at 11:15, in a few minutes, join us for Cyber Social Hour. It's really just half an hour of easy conversation in small groups with friends old and new. We are sending love to you today from Woodbury, Minneapolis, Stillwater, and from 328 Maple Street in Matamidi, Minnesota. Farewell, stay well, friends, from all of us. Amen.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white. Bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself,